Alright, we're reviewing for the Unit 2 Part 2 test. Number 1, we're graphing y equals negative 3x. So that means for this line we have a slope of negative 3, or negative 3 over 1 since we're graphing, and then the y-intercept is 0. So start at the origin, put a point, then go down 3 to the right 1, or you can go up 3 to the left 1. And then we're going to connect those with a straight line. And we'll put arrows on the end, showing that they continue on in that direction. Next, we want to translate each point 2 units to the left. Now this new line that we just graphed, we want to write the equation of that, and we're going to do it in that HK form. It's a version of point slope that emphasizes the translations. So our slope is still negative 3. We translated it 2 units to the left, so the h itself is negative 2, and then we didn't go up or down. So we can simplify this a little bit, and you may have written it this way to start with, but minus the negative 2 would be plus 2, and you don't have to have the plus 0. Notice that it's counterintuitive that what's inside of the parentheses is plus 2, but we actually shifted it to the left 2 because of that minus that's in the formula. Alright, here we want to write the equation of the line in point slope form, and I've given you the version, the textbook version. Alright, so we've got to locate a point. Now, this point is already indicated. You see that dot there? And so that point is 3, negative 2. So that's going to be my x1, y1. Now I do need to figure out the slope of this, so let's locate a second point. We could use 0, negative 1. So from one point to the other, we rise 1, go to the left 3. So our slope, 1 over negative 3. Or you can just write negative 1/3. And so now we'll substitute into this y minus negative 2 equals our slope, which is negative 1/3, times in parentheses x minus x sub 1, which is 3. If we see minus and negative, we're going to rewrite that as plus positive. If you notice that as you're going, you can change it right away. This is point slope form. We don't have to change it to slope-intercept. Here we have an equation, and so our x sub 1 and our y sub 1, that's a point on the line, so we have a point at 4, 3. And then our slope is coefficient on the x, the number in front of the parentheses. So our slope is 2, we'll think of that as 2 over 1. So we'll plot the point at 4, 3, and then we'll go up 2 and to the right 1. Can also go down 2 to the left 1. We'll connect them and put arrows on the ends. So when you're graphing a line from point slope, plot your point, then use your slope to find other points. Here we want to rewrite it in slope-intercept form. So we've got to get rid of our parentheses by distributing. 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. 1/3 times 12 is 4. If you need to, you can show it out to the side. 12 is fractions 12 over 1. Multiply the numerators, you get 12. Multiply the denominators, you get 3. Divide that, you get 4. So we've gotten rid of the parentheses, and now we need to get y by itself, or get rid of this minus 7, by adding 7 to each side. So we have y equals 1/3 x plus 11. Same directions here, we're going to get rid of the parentheses by distributing, and then get y by itself. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 7 is 35. To get rid of the plus 8, subtract 8. And so get y equals negative 5x plus 27. Notice that it's in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Here we have a point and the slope, and we're writing an equation in point slope. Substitute in, y sub 1 is 14, m is 5/3, x sub 1 is negative 3. The only thing we have to take care of here is minus a negative, which we'll rewrite as plus a positive. Same directions here. Notice that the minuses are in the formula. If you see minus a negative, we're going to rewrite it as plus a positive. This time we want to write an equation that is a translation of the line y equals negative 2/3 x, 3 units to the right. So our slope is negative 2/3. The slope doesn't change when you do a translation left or right, or up or down. So our slope's negative 2/3. 3 units to the right, so that means the h is 3. We're not going up or down, so the k is 0. Now we're just substituting in. So we have y equals negative 2/3, in parentheses x, minus is from the formula, k is 3, plus 0, or we can write it a little bit simpler by leaving off the plus 0. Again, the shift inside of parentheses is left or right, and it's counterintuitive. It's the opposite of what we'd expect. That minus 3 is actually sending us to the right 3. Alright, this time we have a point, 3, 7. So that's our x sub 1, y sub 1. And we have the slope of 4. So if you have a point and the slope, you'll start with point slope. So point slope y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. Minus is in the formula. Y sub 1 is 7. The slope is 4. X sub 1 is 3. To get rid of the parentheses here, we'll distribute. Remember, when you change it from point slope into standard form, you go through slope-intercept along the way. So the first couple steps will remind you of just changing it to slope-intercept. So we get y equals 4x minus 5. So that's slope-intercept, but it says standard form. So standard form, we have the x's on the left side. So we've got to subtract 4x from each side. So now we'll have negative 4x plus y equal to negative 5. Now we need our a to be negative, or excuse me, positive, so it is negative now. So we're going to distribute So negative 1 times negative 4x is positive 4x. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 1 times y is negative y. Now on the right side, negative 5 times negative 1 is positive 5. So this is standard form. Ax plus by equals c, where a is positive. Doesn't matter about b or c, they can be positive or negative, but they do need to be integers, so keep that in mind. Here we have 2 points, and we want to eventually write it into slope-intercept. So to start with, we've got to find the slope. So plug it into the slope formula. On top, negative 2 minus negative 5. On the bottom, 3 minus 4. Negative 2 minus a negative 5 is the same as negative 2 plus 5, that's 3. On the bottom, 3 minus 4 is negative 1. And then a positive divided by a negative gives us a negative. So our slope is negative 3. Now we already had a point, now we have the slope, so we can go to point slope next. Minuses are in the formula. Our slope is negative 3. X sub 1 is 4. To get rid of the parentheses, we can distribute. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Oh, on the left side, we can go ahead and rewrite that as y plus 5 if you haven't already. Subtract 5 from each side. Now we have it in slope-intercept form. So if you're starting with 2 points and you're trying to write the equation of the line, you need to find the slope. And then if you're going to write it in slope-intercept, start with point slope if that's what you're given. F of x constant, that means the y values are not changing, or you can say a horizontal line or line segment. So that happens from negative 4 to 1. F of x increasing, that means going uphill from left to right. So that's everything to the right of 1. And then negative slope from left to right going downhill. So that's that piece there. So that's everything to the left of negative 4. Alright, and now here we're trying to match up this piecewise function. So the first piece happens from 0 to 2. So we have a rise of 20, a run of 2. So our slope for that portion is 10. Now the y-intercept, it's going through the origin, so the y-intercept is 0. So if we write it in terms of x and y, we would say y equals mx plus b. Y equals 10x plus 0. But of course we're writing in terms of d's and t's. D of t is the y that is what we're using for y, distance as a function of time. And then instead of x, we're using t. So this first piece is 10t, or you could say choice d. For the second piece, you'll notice that it's not, we can't look at it and tell for sure where it would cross the y-axis. So let's locate a point like 220, and that will be a point, and we can use that HK version of point slope. Remember, that's y equals m times x minus h plus k. Now in this case our rise, we go up from 20 all the way up to 80, so the rise is 60. The run, we go to the right 2. So the run is 20. So our slope is 30. Y equals 30 and then in parentheses x minus h, which is 2, and plus 20. Now, of course, if we change that to d's and t's, then we're looking at choice A. This next piece is flat, so it's going to be just y equal to 80, or you could say d of t equals 80. Alright, and then the final piece, of course you can use process of elimination, but it goes from a distance of 80 up to 120, so your rise is 40. You're running to the right 2, so your run is 2, so the slope is 20. Now if we use this point on the left, we're using the point 580. And so you should see this matching up with it. So choice C will be our final. This last question you may see occasionally on tests from me. And it says, what else did you learn in this unit that I have not asked you? So looking back at the test, you can, or back at the review, you can kind of pick out some things that you know that maybe weren't explicitly asked for on the test. So it's open-ended. Try to come up with something that you learned in this unit that I haven't asked you on the test. Hope you've enjoyed this video.